I want to quickly introduce our panelists to our viewers. Thank you all for your patience and for joining us, but we continue to get in the latest information, so you'll bear with us and stay with us for a while. We have Professor Y.P. Sundaryal, he's a geologist, Naveen Bhatnagar, former DIG NDRF, Atul Sati, activist, Professor Gulfran Beg, founder and project director, Safar, Dr. Anjali Prakash, expert on the Hindu Kush Himalayas water system. We're going to get all of them through the course of this 1-hour broadcast, but do stay with me. We have more information coming in. We're going to try and push in as much information we can give to our viewers right now. And my colleague Ankit, who's joining me from the newsroom, has more to add before we come to you. Ankit, what's the latest?
We are trying to stitch together all the reports that we are getting from local sources, official sources. You just mentioned an army camp being damaged due to this. This is the overview. This is the overview of Dharali in Harsil Valley. Two different streams of mudslides have been witnessed. The first visuals, the main visual that we all saw on our TV screens, came from this direction. This is Dharali village. Roughly 4,000 feet is this point, and 4,000 feet down the slope, this village faced a very heavy mudslide. Approx speed of the mudslide was roughly 43 km/h. So you should imagine how destructive it could be. The second stream of mudslide, Preeti, was likely came from this direction. There is a helipad which belongs to army, and here is the Harsil army camp. The reports are suggesting that the Harsil army camp has been badly damaged because of this mudslide. Now, let's zoom in more towards the Dharali village, the Kasbah. The red dots on your screen, Preeti, they show the destroyed or the buildings that have been completely buried. On your right, you see so many red dots, which means that the extent of damage on the right of the screen is that much. The yellow dots on the screen are partially damaged buildings. This place, Preeti, has a very popular Kalp Kedar temple. This is the Kalp Kedar temple, very popular. This is Bhagirathi river, and here you can see a helipad right at the bank of Bhagirathi river, Preeti, which has been likely damaged in this mudslide. Now, if you see this picture, this should give you some idea. 12,600 feet is this point. Roughly 8,300 feet from the sea level is this point. So roughly 4,000 feet of distance. A mudslide coming at a speed of roughly 43 km/h. You should imagine how destructive it could be. So right at the bank is Dharali Kasbah, and this is the main affected area where roughly 200 to 250 people are believed to be living. We do not know the extent of damage yet, but this has been the badly affected, the main affected area in the Dharali village. Another stream that we mentioned came from this direction. Not a lot of residential buildings, but what we are given to understand is that the military camp, the army camp, has suffered some kind of damage because of the second stream of the mudslide, Preeti.
Ankit, thank you for joining us with that quick update. Viewers, so what we can confirm, and we're cutting across to Professor Y.P. Sundaryal at the back of that, what we can confirm right now, once again, this is all initial sketchy information. The expanse of this tragedy is still unknown. We must say that very clearly because very little information is coming in. All roads leading to Dharali, leading to Harsil right now, most of them completely blocked. The aerial route is blocked. What we are picking up is local info and local intelligence. Though there are SDRF, NDRF teams, the local brigade, the army also, pitching in. So, having said all of that, the expanse of this tragedy is still unknown. Professor Y.P. Sundaryal, who's a geologist, is joining us. One of the main reasons, Professor, what is being indicated is the riverlets completely breaching their banks, once again pointing out to the larger tragedy we keep speaking of, that you cannot bind rivers. This one, the Kir Ganga here, completely consuming this village in its wake.
Yes, actually, if you see the location, it is completely, we can say that it is unsafe. And the seed grid of the people, they constructed their homestay. Actually, these damaged lodges are mainly homestay.
Right.
for which government also giving some grants and a startup grant. But unfortunately, we occupied unsafe places for this construction. And administration should not allow to
Fair
occupy
point.
such places which are unsafe. This is the first thing what happened in due to this cloud burst in the Kirganga. Mainly, second thing I want to tell you that in the recent research, we have many published paper by our Indian scientists who told that on the basis of last 500 year data, Bedwal Sahni Institute of Paleoscience, they published a paper in 2023, and they said that the trend of the rainfall
Right.
in the particularly in the Uttarakhand Himalaya is decreasing. It means total rainfall is decreasing trend they got, but what they found that extreme event is increasing
Fair
day by
point.
day.
And
And
that's
if you
what's
look,
right. So
yes,
I'll just
if you
come to
look,
you. I'll just allow me to just bring in our other guests, and we'll come back to the reasons on, with what you pointed out is an important point you're making, because clearly weather patterns are changing. There's climate change. What you pointed out that rain is decreasing, but incidents like this are only but increasing, and we've seen them one too many. Naveen Bhatnagar, sir, you've former DIG, NDRF, the first 24 hours as NDRF, I'm sure Mr. Bhatragar, you know, are crucial where rescue is concerned, because right now, rescue is priority, relief will only kick in later. But what you see in terms of just visuals, what does it indicate? Are we looking in terms of expanse at a 2013-like tragedy in Uttarakhand?
Yeah. So, lot of changes are there, because this flash flood came from top to bottom. So, with a lot of debris and other this flash flood also. So, due to that pressure, and a lot of things were reported, and loss of was there, especially in the villages area and nearby places of Ganges. Likewise, lot of losses being
Right.
reported. So, being an SDRF, our NDRF and SDRF people, they are doing their rescue operation. Yeah.
All right, okay. I want to quickly cut across right now to Atul Sati, who's an activist. Atul Sati. All right, we seem to have lost. Do we have Professor Beg? Professor Beg, would you want to comment on what we are witnessing right now in Uttarakhand, sir?
Yes, I am extremely tragic and unfortunate incident. My condolences. Very briefly, I would like to mention that it is more of a landsliding for a number of reasons, but not a cloud burst. It is a near cloud burst. In fact, it is more than cloud burst kind of a situation which has been created. Reason is that because of the continuous rain for these many days, the what you call is a Kheergarh river, there it got outflowed because it is coming from such a top level. The flow was very fast, and the major point was that the natural flow which was coming to this area, Dharali, and then another nearby the hill from there, the water was streaming. Those, because of the continuous rain, soil got too much of a damage that got mixed up. So one side, number of streams got merged up. Then coming from this Kheergarh river, it got overflowed suddenly, and that made a catastrophe. And this is something which we should know, that this area, the landslide is very devastating, because all of them are mud, which will carry along with the water, unlike Lonavala, Khandala, where it is a more of a rocky. So it will just get into that, and then it will not flow. And that is what the tragic pictures you have been seeing it. So it will all through water will carry this sludge along with this, and it will make even much more disastrous. Now the reasons for how that got the river overflowed as well as this is happening, because obvious reason is that the drainage areas are getting choked. Water is not finding it to spread in a longer areas, and there what exactly we need to look into, that what are the kind of a construction which is more than what we can swallow, which is happening. And then we need to see the plastic usage and other things. Most likely the drainage water is not finding any places to spread around. and continuous rain is anyway putting the fury of that. Moisture because of the climate change is becoming very huge. So in addition to monsoon plus heavy moisture-laden atmospheric cloud, both of them putting extreme rainfalls, and this is what it has happened. But then I just want to correct only this thing that it was really not a cloudburst because the rain was not that fast. Because cloudburst definition is that within 1 hour, 100 mm water rain should have been there within a 10 by 10 kilometer. That was not really the case because it was not that fast within 1 hour.
So you're saying it's flash floods and it wasn't a cloudburst because the initial information.
Exactly. It is a widespread fast rain accumulated, made the soil weaker, and that is what.
All right. So you're saying it's not a cloudburst because what we've been confirmed right now by our local information coming in that it was a cloudburst, that there were not one but 2 or 3 cloudbursts that took place. But you're suggesting this was more of a flash flood. But Atul Sati, we finally have him back. Mr. Sati, this is something that has played out multiple times over, especially where Uttarakhand is concerned. This is once again deja vu, and collateral are the hapless people of Uttarakhand. Mr. Sati, can you hear me, sir? Mr. Sati, can you hear me? All right, we seem to be having a bit of an audio problem. We're going to try and connect back to Mr. Atul Sati. But viewers, let me once again go back and get you the latest information that is coming in, and it is not good. These are the latest visuals that have been recorded just a short while back. You can actually see cars being swept away, and sadly we have been told that there were people inside this car. That is how tragic this is, viewers. These visuals were recorded just half an hour ago by locals at Dharali village. This is around Dharali village. There was just no time, and unfortunate visuals, disconcerting, but this is what has happened. And you can see this car being completely swept away in the sludge of the water. Viewer discretion, viewers, is advised because these visuals can be triggering. All right, so, of course, the political brass has kicked in. You have Pushkar Dhami, visuals coming in. He spoke to the press a short while ago saying every possible help is being extended, but right now there's hardly any help that can actually reach Dharali village, viewers, and that's the sad part. Can you hear we're going to just try and amp up the local surround sound. All right, so the locals around, you can hear them. Like I said, viewer discretion is advised. These visuals can be triggering to some. We're just trying to put out the latest that we have, and we're trying to put out verified information. And sadly, what we're picking up is that this car was swept away with people still inside the car. There was just no reaction time. The expanse of the tragedy continues to unfold. What we can tell our viewers, 4 dead, over 50 reported missing, many buried under the debris and sludge. Unfortunately, these figures are just figures right now, and they are expected to rise. Are we looking at a 2013-like tragedy is the big question. We hope not, but is that what we are staring at? Because little by little, the expanse of this tragedy is only but widening. We've gotten information that there is a brigade headquarters stationed in Harsil. One of the army camps there has suffered massive damage. Jawans in that army, some of them are reportedly missing too. The helipad in Harsil completely destroyed. In any case, it's been incessant rain. There's a red alert where Uttarakhand is concerned, and due to the weather conditions, there is no air operation, so no helicopters landing in Harsil where rescue is concerned. The local NDRF, SDRF teams have kicked in, ITBP teams have kicked in, and the brigade headquarters, the army that is still stationed there, the Jawans, all in where rescue operations are concerned. Once again, let's try and connect to Mr. Atul Sati. All right, we don't have Atul Sati with us. Professor Y.P. Sunreal, who's been studying the geology of this area for decades right now, can maybe add to why we are witnessing tragedies such as this. But Mr. Sunreal, in your opinion, over the decades that you've studied Uttarakhand, you've witnessed many and studied many of these catastrophes. Are we looking at something like 2013, or is this contained?
Yes, actually, if you look at the video that was made by the local people and they are viral on the social media, it looks like 2021 that Rishiganga event, because fog of the dust is coming first, and then the debris, the water along with the boulders, along with the sediments, we call in the geology it is a debris flow, and it is very powerful. But the main question is why people allowed to occupy the unsafe places.
True.
Along the river bank. All the losses that happened in 2013, Kedarnath disaster, all the casualty happened when we occupied the courses of the river from Rudraprayag up to Kedarnath, then again from Rudraprayag up to Badrinath. So government should take care of all these unsafe places, and they should not allow any person
Fair point,
to make
sir.
lodges.
You know, that is something which activists and professors like you have been saying for decades now, because a lot of what we see is man-made, and viewers, visuals like this that you can see on your television screen will trigger you. It will break your heart when you see people struggling to get away from the sludge, desperate to get away in the wake of what is clear coming catastrophe. Dr. Anjali Prakash, expert on the Hindu Kush Himalayas, is with us. Dr. Prakash, Himalayan catastrophe once again playing out in the state of Uttarakhand. One question which I think everyone is asking today, because we still are yet to get to grips with the expanse of this tragedy. But are we looking at a 2013-like tragedy, or is it contained?
No, so this has been a tragedy which is actually in the making. It is not something that I'm really surprised about, because there is a numerous reports, including IPCC report where I have been part of. The mountain chapter has couple of years before has made it very categorically determined that these kind of events going to be rising in the future. Government of India has brought on a couple of reports. Its own government organizations have been writing, scientists are writing. So this is a known knowledge, Preeti, and that is the problem also lies, that the knowledge is not leading to wisdom and it's not leading to action on ground. And that's the way we are seeing. You have to understand that these events are going to be increasing in future, and this is not only today but tomorrow, day after tomorrow is going to be increasing both in frequency as well as the intensity of these events. And that's where also that we have to take action, and that's the major part. There are a couple of points also which is coming out from here. One is definitely about the early warning system. We have seen that IMD has been issued warning, but that warning has not led to action on ground. Otherwise, the images that you see, people should have been rescued. At least the higher end would have the warning is that would lead to a kind of flood situation, and that means the people have to be evacuated from those risk area. But we probably may not have done the risk mapping to understand that these places where some of these issues, some of the water has been flowing down, could also be a high risk zone. So there are many problems which is actually related to the way in which we are planning, the way in which we are actually trying to rescue our own people, and at the same time we also protecting our future for a very fragile region that we have.
Viewers, taking you back to more information that is coming in right now. We're going to cut across to the latest that the Chief Minister, and that's the news break coming in, Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has chaired a disaster management meet in Uttarakhand. The meeting being held at Uttarakhand Emergency Operations Center in Dehradun. So while all of these meetings are taking place, and they continue to take place after every tragedy that we see, the collateral are always the people. Clearly, there is something that we are doing tragically wrong that results in what we see, and you combine it with climate change, you combine it with changing weather patterns, and what you get is a mammoth catastrophe and tragedy on hand. Once again, we just want to focus in on what, the latest that is coming in right now, and Ashutosh is joining us. Ashutosh, One thing that most experts are looking at keenly, and unfortunately, are we looking at a 2013-like tragedy? Because, or is that contained this time around? Because the visuals that are coming in, the kind of eyewitness accounts that are coming in, what are we looking at?
Well, Preeti, just being a human being, we would always pray that there should not be any repeat of 2013. But as someone who has covered this situation from the ground zero and analyzing these images, we are seeing actually a very potential devastation because you have a city full of the people, not only the locals, but also the outsiders, the tourists, the pilgrims, because the religious tourism also underway. Subsequent to that entire terrain, the way it washed away the entire city, perhaps the casualty could go a little higher. Moreover, even if there are few people who are breathing their, taking their last breath, perhaps could be safe potentially. But now you have totally hostile weather. We are crossing over Haridwar and still in parts they started raining. So eventually there is a high alert, red alert also being issued for that district of Uttarkashi as well. If the rain continues and if there are sub-debris or something suspended in those particular areas with the rain flow and exactly seeing the incline, that will also come down. So it's now a race against time. You have a hostile weather and of course there is no electricity because that area has washed away. Now the number of people, there's a very limited number of people who are already carrying out those operations, searching out the people with their torch, with whatever machinery they have available. So all these machinery that are being moved inside will also face the challenge of the landslide unless that is cleared by the GREF and BROs. They will also take a little time. So this is a race against time, and the critical time is exactly now this, where you have a battle against the weather, the totally hostile weather. So tomorrow onwards, in fact, as we speak, Air Force has also been roped in for such operations. We have the Chinook, Advanced Light Helicopter, Dhruva, Cheetah, all these helicopters are being put on standby, including Mi-17, because once you start getting people injured, you'll be transferring them to AIMS, Rishikesh and several other such hospitals. So the machineries have been moved, the agencies have been moved, the boots on the ground are already carrying out this operation to save maximum people. But then we have seen what has happened in 2013, the challenges reaching out to those terrain, landing choppers at those terrain, evacuating people from those terrains. So that clearly explains how this furious cloudburst has literally devastated this landscape of the beautiful landscape of Uttarkashi.
Ashutosh, you continue to stay on with us because while the Uttarakhand flash flood has clearly sparked memories of 2013 with what Uttarakhand witnessed, what India witnessed, one of the worst tragedies that actually took 1,000 lives. Right now, we don't want to sound alarmist at all. It is contained, similar in nature in terms of the landslide, but why we say it is possibly contained than 2013 is because the area of what it's affected, and that is much smaller than what it was in 2013. But having said that, rescue is on a war footing. These are just initial figures that are coming out. Larger questions now being raised on whether we have forward planning, where the IMD is concerned. Should there have been evacuation of these buildings? Lots of questions that are coming to the fore, and we continue to disseminate that information to our viewers as and when we have. I think activist Mr. Sati on the phone line with us. All right, we don't seem to have him. Let's try and get him, but let's continue to give out the latest that is coming in. You have the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, who is chairing a meet right now where disaster management is concerned, and efforts on a war footing in Dehradun to try and cope with this tragedy. Still to come to grips and understand the expanse of the tragedy, because the information that is coming out is largely very, very limited, viewers. I want to go to Mr. Naveen Bhatnagar and we'll go back to Ashutosh for more information. Naveen Bhatnagar, 24 hours is what we are looking at as a window for maximum rescue, because after that, sadly, there can be relief, but the possibility of rescue diminishes.
Yeah. So it's a dark area today, so it will be very difficult for our rescuers to find out and do the rescue operations. But anyhow, as an NDRF, we have the ASCAI standby lights and other equipments also. In that, we can do these rescue operations. Need not to worry, we have the night vision cameras also. as well as the other equipments also. We have the life locator as well as the other sonar system also we have. So we can find out the this one bodies or the victims. If anybody is alive, we can find out. And even the few people will be absconding, and they will be getting this air pocket also in this mud. So they will be alive. So we will rescue them, need not to worry. And also our men are so trained that they will continue the rescue operation because it's a crucial time. If we will be waiting for the morning or some delay will be there, so definitely we will be losing our target. But anyhow, with the God help and now this your weather may be something helpful to us up to this morning, and we
Well,
will
let's
be
just
able
hope,
to.
because there is only but prayers right now to offer, because the gods look very, very angry. Because you have the Kheer Ganga that has completely consumed one village, taking everything in its wake, and tragic visuals coming in. But like I said, viewers, prayers for Dev Bhumi, Uttarkashi. I want to quickly take you through the latest visuals that are coming in. A cloudburst in Uttarkashi's Dharali village has caused widespread destruction across the village, completely consumed. Take a look. Disturbing visuals show flash floods swallowing an entire village. Several homes can be seen being washed along with people being swept away in the flood waters. Viewers' discretion with these visuals, viewers, some of them can be very, very triggering, where you can see villagers running and scrambling for safety as the flood hits the region. Videos have captured the horrors in the Himalayas. At least 4 people have died in the destruction, but several more feared dead. And you can very well see as this flash flood takes everything in its wake, including those desperately running away from it. Before and after pictures of Dharali show the extent of damage to the village after the cloudburst. Senior officials, including the Chief Secretary, Commissioner of Garhwal Division, are monitoring the situation at the State Disaster Operations Center in Dehradun. Meanwhile, the Indian Army has mobilized 150 personnel at the site and intensified rescue operations. So far, about 20 individuals have been successfully evacuated. Search and rescue efforts are underway to locate and evacuate the stranded persons. In the aftermath of the cloudburst, the water levels in rivers have risen significantly and houses can be seen completely submerged in mud at the river banks. Videos also show residents living close to the banks running for cover. After Dharali, Uttarkashi has seen yet another cloudburst, this time near Sukhni Top. No casualties were reported. A bird's eye view of the region showing nature in full fury. This has been the expanse of this catastrophe, viewers. We've taken you through the visuals that have come in. Once again, it's only unfolding in terms of the information is sketchy because all of these are local inputs. Most roads that are leading to the devastation site are blocked because of landslides. There is a red alert in the state of Uttarakhand, especially around the Uttarkashi region, primarily because of the cloudburst, and in the next 12 hours expected to get incessant, very, very high rainfall. So that is not going to make things any which way easier where rescue is concerned. The helipad in Harsil has been swept away, so even choppers right now cannot land. All right, I have Mr. Vinod Kumar, Secretary, Disaster Management, on the phone line with us. Mr. Kumar, can you get us up to speed, sir? Give us the latest in terms of the rescue operations.
मौके पर आर्मी के लगभग 120 प्लस लोग और लोकल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन के लगभग 10 to 15 लोग और SDRF के 10 to 20 लोग काम कर रहे हैं. Around 300 rescue officers and persons are on the way टू हर्सिल
जी जी
फॉर रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन, बट रास्ते में मलबा आने के कारण रास्ता बंद हो गया, जिससे वो लोग फंस गए हैं, पहुंच नहीं पा रहे हैं। उनके पास सभी मॉडर्न इक्विपमेंट्स हैं जिससे रेस्क्यू में मदद मिलेगी, बट लगातार जैसा आपने बताया कि लगातार बरसात हो रही है, जिससे रेस्क्यू कार्य में बाधा उत्पन्न हो रही है।
विनोद जी, आपने बताया कि 300 और वहाँ पर रेस्क्यू के लिए टीम्स निकली हुई हैं, 300 पर्सनल निकले हुए हैं, पर अभी वो भी स्ट्रैंडेड हैं। तो अभी जो वहाँ पर लोकल टीम्स हैं विनोद जी, तो वही अभी रेस्क्यू और उसमें इन्वॉल्व हैं। कितने रेस्क्यूड हैं? कोई फिगर्स हमारे पास आए हैं कैजुअलिटीज़ के, फेटालिटीज़ के?
कनेक्टिविटी वहाँ पे नहीं हो पा रही है, देयरफॉर वी आर नॉट एबल टू फाइंड द एग्जैक्ट नंबर, but rescue operation is going on. 120 plus army personals and some local officers and villagers and NDRF troops are working on rescue operation.
विनोद जी, अगर क्योंकि अभी वहाँ पर रेड अलर्ट है बिकॉज ऑफ द रेन्स, और एयर ऑपरेशंस क्योंकि हेलीपैड बिल्कुल ही स्वेप्ट अवे हो चुका है, एयर ऑपरेशंस वेदर की उससे नहीं कैरिड आउट हो सकते हैं, तो हम अगले 12 घंटे में क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हैं सर रिलीफ और रेस्क्यू के लिए?
देखिए, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी घटनास्थल पे नजर बनाए हुए हैं। माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी अभी भी हमारे कंट्रोल रूम में हैं और उनके द्वारा पूरी घटना पे नजर बनाए रखी गई है। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया पूरा सपोर्ट कर रही है। Mi-17 हेलीकॉप्टर, चिनूक हेलीकॉप्टर तैयार हैं फ्लाई करने के लिए, बट ड्यू टू बैड वेयर दे आर नॉट एबल टू फ्लाई। इससे दिक्कत हो रही है ट्रूप्स को पहुंचाने में, क्योंकि रास्ता ब्लॉक होने के कारण हम पहुंच नहीं पा रहे हैं और हमारे जो हेलीकॉप्टर है उसकी हम सेवाएं नहीं ले पा रहे हैं
जी।
कल थोड़ा सा विंडो मिलने की संभावना है, तो हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि कल हम हेली रेस्क्यू कर पाएंगे। और हमारे टीमें जो रास्ते में हैं 300 प्लस लोग, वो भी आज पहुंचने की संभावना है, जिससे रेस्क्यू के काम में तेजी आएगी और हम लोगों को मैक्सिमम लोगों को बचा पाएंगे। हमारी प्रायोरिटी है लोगों को बचाना, उसके लिए टीमें काम कर रही हैं।
विनोद कुमार जी, बस एक आखिरी सवाल करूंगी। जो भी लोकल इनपुट आ रहे हैं, जो वहाँ पर लोकल्स हैं, कह रहे हैं कि एक काफ़ी बड़ी आपदा है, तो जो अभी हम दिख रहा है हमको मतलब इनिशियल इंडिकेशन क्या लग रहा है विनोद जी? व्हाट आर वी डीलिंग विद?
बहुत बड़ी आपदा है, एकदम से सही कहा आपने। और हम यही भगवान से दुआ करेंगे कि कम से कम लोगों की डेथ हो। जो लोग काफ़ी लोग, चूंकि समय मिल गया हमको 30 सेकंड के आसपास, 40 सेकंड का समय मिला था, तो काफ़ी लोग भागे भी हैं, तो उससे हम उम्मीद कर रहे हैं कि काफ़ी लोग बच भी गए होंगे। बट ये एग्जैक्ट नंबर रेस्क्यू ऑपरेशन पूरा होने के बाद ही पता लग पाएगी कि कितने लोग सुरक्षित हैं, कितने लोगों की डेथ हुई, कितने लोग गायब। जी,
बहुत शुक्रिया विनोद कुमार जी कि आप हमसे जुड़े। थैंक यू सो मच सर। डॉक्टर अंजल प्रकाश, आई वांट टू जस्ट कम बैक टू यू as well as we'll bring in Gulfam Beg as well. But Dr. Prakash, initial indications clearly suggest that even where government is concerned, they do understand what we are looking at is a massive tragedy.
Yes, that's exactly the point, is that we have to plan for these things. This is something which is known fact for all of us who are walking this area. And that means not only Uttarakhand, but Himachal Pradesh, also the states like Sikkim and other northeastern state, which is under greater risk. And that means you have to have a very concerted planning of how they should be looking at these disasters. It's not knee-jerk solutions of each disasters and we sit together and talk, but a long-term planning. Now, one point I would like to bring out, which is also emphasized in IPCC report, is about climate resilient planning. And that is climate resilient planning means that we have to very simply first identify the zones that is in a higher risk, and those zones have to be cleared of, or at least the warning system has to reach out to those people in advance. 30 seconds is nothing, 30 seconds you can't go from point A to point B in that sense. So you can imagine the situation of those people who are just trapped and they have no control over this process. And that's something which is alarming for us. This is the wake up call for all of us who are walking this area. Please make sure that this is not repeated again. At least the lives and livelihood are not lost.
Professor Prakash, because this is not really the first time we've seen a tragedy of this nature, it happens practically every year, maybe the intensity of it changes. Do you see this as maybe this is going to be the wake-up call, because it doesn't seem that it really trickles down into any action on ground?
Yes, Preeti, this is a new normal. In the climate parlance, we are saying this new normal. This the frequency and the intensity is going to increase. The only problem is we don't know with the climate change issues. We do not know when and where it's going to strike, and that means that the area which has been marked again high risk area. Himalayas are one of the high risk zones which we have to really plan. And this is a concerted effort. It is not state specific planning. It is the region specific planning. That means you have to look at both eastern and western Himalayan region and then plan in continuity so that we can save lives and livelihood for millions of people who are actually staying there. You have to also understand these are one of the youngest mountains of the world. This is one of the highest density mountain systems of the world, and that means that we have to take utmost care in terms of how do we look at these situations in the future. Most of this is not in our control because the global warming feeding to cloudburst or the GLOF situation that is happening leading to avalanche that is there. But what is in our hand is about saving lives of our own people through a very concerted planning, through a robust early warning system where things can be really monitored, especially in this season where it should have been monitored. I am sure it's sorry to say that it has not reached the last person. Otherwise, we wouldn't have seen the casualties and the live visual that you're showing to us. And that is unfortunate.
Because it takes a completely different set of planning now, Professor Y.P. Sundaryal, especially because there are dams in the area. Everything now needs to change in terms of how we look at development where our mountains are concerned, especially where Uttarkashi is concerned, because you are a geologist. This is one of the most prone areas to an incident like this.
Yes, actually, in 1978, we have seen the same type of the disaster in Uttarkashi. In 1978, one Kanodia Ghat that was dammed by the landslide, and a natural dam was framed there, and that burst. And your Josiara, other side, which is located other side of the Uttarkashi, was completely washed away. The national highway was washed away about 20 to 25 kilometers. In 1978, I am talking that of 1978. And unfortunately, all the national highways, either they are for Badrinath, or they are for Kedarnath, or they are for Gangotri, Yamunotri, they are passing along the river. That is very unfortunate. That sometimes the height of the road is just near the riverbed, just about 20-25 meters above the riverbed at some places. We have seen this type of the roads in the Mandakini in 2013 disaster. And again, we have not learned any lesson from the Kedarnath disaster. We have again allowed the road, construction of the road and this settlement at the unsafe site. This is very unfortunate. So we should at least now, scientists have already identified which are the safe sites, which are the unsafe sites for the construction.
Right.
Data is there. But the $1 million question is, who will implement these recommendations of the scientists?
Right.
One alarming situation, scientists have already declared through their researches that in future, Himalaya, and particularly in Uttarakhand Himalaya, we are going to face such type of the calamities.
True, sir.
The number of such type of the incident will increase.
True. I appreciate both you gentlemen for joining us. Thank you there, because as Professor Sundaryal taught, that we haven't really quite learnt our lessons, but sadly, sometimes when lessons aren't learned, they are taught in the cruelest of manners again. And what we witness right now is exactly that. The gods are angry where Devbhumi is concerned. Prayers for Uttarkashi and Uttarakhand. Let's hope tomorrow the weather clears out and rescue and relief can finally start, because caught in the midst of climate change and midst of urban decay in our mountains, our citizens go lateral, and you can see that on your television screens. We're going to leave it at that. Thank you for joining us.